All right. So, good morning, everybody. A little distracted this morning. That doesn't usually happen to me. Um, Good morning. We are going to play with some variations on tree pose today, and you're going to need everything. So, and we are going to start laying down, but don't be too quick to lay down. Have your strap nearby, near your mat where you can get to it. And then you're going to do a couple things with your blocks and your blanket. So this is a little bit of a setup to start, and then we'll get going. So usually our blankets, if you have a yoga blanket, it's about that big. If you're using a towel, um, that's perfectly fine. All I want you to do is fold the blanket in half, kind of the longer way of whatever your square is. And then you're going to take that blanket and you're going to set it on your mat because your foot's going to go on it, and so you'll need some cushion there. One block down, let's do the left side of the mat, down toward the front end of the left side of your mat. The other one here for us to use in just a moment. So with all of that, excuse me, with all of that, I'm going to set this out of the way for now. Come on down and lay on your back. And I would keep the knees bent since we have stuff all over our mat. Kind of snuggling your shoulders, snuggling your hips. Maybe close the eyes for a moment here. Let one hand rest on your low belly, and your other hand is either resting on mid belly or near chest. But in either case, both elbows are down on the floor. And if it's comfortable, you can take the feet wide, the knees together. For some, that'll be really comfortable. For others, it won't feel quite so good. And I want you to start to tap into the breath. And just notice as you breathe in and you breathe out. So we've been dipping into pranayama a little bit more lately, last couple of classes. And today I want to do another one of my favorite kind of pranayama or breath work techniques. And it's called Deerga pranayama, or three-part breath. And I've done this before, but it's been quite a long time. So as you're laying here nice and comfy on your yoga mat, getting yourself centered, I want you to imagine this bottom hand. As you take a breath in, first you fill up the bottom hand, and then as you continue to breathe in, you fill in the middle hand. And as you continue breathing, you draw the breath all the way up to the collarbone. So three-part breath. And it's not really, you can start by doing like one section, one section, one section, but it's really not a kind of stop and go breath. It is a smooth breath that moves from low belly, mid belly to chest. We pause at the top of the breath, and then on the exhale, it is releasing through the chest, the mid belly, and then the low belly. So when you're ready, just start by exploring this. No strain, right? Don't overdo it, but just feel the inhale as you take it in. And you pause at the top, and then as you exhale, the chest releases, the mid belly, and then the lower belly. And as you inhale, the low hand rises, the middle hand, all the way up to the chest. And exhaling, three-part breath here. And notice as you bring it in. And as you exhale it out. Bringing the breath in, just a gentle pause at the top, exhaling, letting it go. Bringing it in, exhaling it out. And start to notice as you focus on the breath. Hopefully, the mind starts to clear of other things. Good. 2 more full rounds here. And then let the hands go. Take the knees apart from each other if they were together. And grab your strap and take the strap around your left foot. Take your left foot up to the ceiling. Hold on to that strap and just kind of notice your hamstrings, right? The back of the legs. Your left knee relatively straight, but that's going to be up to your hamstrings more, almost more than up to you. You don't want to ever force that extension, but you want to let the hamstrings, the backs of the legs, warm up a little bit. So maybe you bend the knee and then straighten it, right? Trying to bring a little bit of love and compassion to these bodies of ours as we stretch and open and find patience, right? Good lesson for life in general. Good. One more, maybe bend and flex and then straighten. And if you can work around your props, go ahead and straighten the right leg. If your back of your thighs resting on your blanket, that's perfectly fine. And then just kind of notice, right? How is this feeling? Once you straighten the leg, right? What happens is that hamstring gets more of a pull. But I want you to get a sense of the hips and feeling like these hips are pretty level, and maybe you shimmy the hips as if you were going to do a hip hike on that left side, raising the left hip up toward the ribs and then dropping it back down and raising it up and down again. Good. One more right there. Just kind of hike it up and then press it down. Feel both hips nice and even on your yoga mat. And then if your strap is long enough, just take it overhead. Let the arms stretch overhead. I'm not pulling on the leg, but gravity is certainly taking it. The gravity of, or the weight of my arms heading toward the floor. I'm not even touching the floor with my arms. But just that weight of the arms is stretching that leg a little bit more. If that's too much for you, 2 options: bend your right leg or don't do the arms right now. And then take some nice, sweet, easy breaths, right? We let the body know that this position is safe by relaxing, by breathing, by listening to the body. And we just see what this hamstring wants to do today. Deep breath. And then release the arms from overhead. And the last thing I want you to do is just turn the leg out to the side. So it's an external rotation, right? We always think of moving from the foot, but it's really a hip movement. And all you're doing is taking that hip, that upper thigh, and turning it out to the side. The leg is straight. Breathe. Notice how that feels in your body. I've been doing a teacher training on the hips, and it's been really fascinating to learn about the ranges of motion with everybody's different hips. So you turn that leg out to the side and you go, that feels really good. That feels okay. Pain is not an option. So if you feel like you're getting some pain there, I want you to release that extension or that rotation. And then take the strap into the right hand and just turn the leg, foot inward. And just get a sense of where that goes for you. Remember, it's not about the foot, it's about the hip. If you could take that inside thigh and roll it down and then to the out, right? That internal rotation. For me, external rotation, super easy. Internal rotation, not so much. That's the way my hips are built. And then straighten the foot, bend your knee, bring the knee to your chest as comfortable as that is for you. And then set that foot on the floor. All right, let's go to the other side. Wrap the strap around your right foot, take the right foot up toward the ceiling. Pause here for a moment. Just get a sense of how it feels with the left foot on the floor. And then take a few, 5, 6, 8 times to bend and straighten the leg and notice how that's feeling in your body. When we sit a lot, right, for work particularly, or driving, or computer, TV, whatever it is, the hamstring muscle can get short and it can get tight from that shortened position when we're seated. So as we straighten the leg, we lengthen the hamstring, which helps that muscle stay a little bit more balanced. All right, so let that right leg stay straight up. Work around your props here. If your foot lands on your block that's down there, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you're not hyperextending your knee. And feel this lovely hamstring on this side. Usually we're tighter one side hamstring than the other. This is certainly my tighter side. And it's often your dominant leg, which I find very interesting. So we give it some time, we check it out, we see how it's feeling in our bodies, and then do that little hip hike for me again, where the right hip kind of draws up and my leg is actually moving a little internally and then out, internal and out, right? As we're just kind of lifting the hip up toward the ribs and then back down again. Yep, that's going to come into play later. Hopefully, if I remember it all. Good. And then come back to center. Optionally, you're going to take those arms overhead. I'm just gently holding on to both ends of my strap. I'm not forcing the arms, nor am I forcing the leg. It's certainly a deeper stretch, so be mindful of that. And then notice if it's too much for you, right? Want to honor our bodies. There should be, for me, there's a nice, pretty intense stretch of this hamstring, but there's no pain at all. There's nothing that makes me want to get out of this pose anytime soon. So I'm just going to use my breath. Going to let those stretch receptors relax, finding the muscle stretch in the belly of that muscle. That's it. And then release the arms, but keep the strap externally, rotate that leg. So again, it's moving from the hip. Sometimes I'll even use my hands to kind of help externally rotate. You can see it affects the entire leg. The heel moves in, the toes move out, the kneecap pointing out. And again, it's going to be your individual body, so no force. Right? Just see, be really curious about where it is for you because it can inform your poses. That's it. And release to center, go inside, right? Internal rotation as if the outer side of that hip were rolling across the top and to the inside. Again, notice how that feels in your body. Is it easy? Is it the same as the other side? Do you get more sensation? It's kind of, it is really interesting. And we don't do the internal rotation a whole lot. Good. Bring it back to center. Bend your knee. Release your strap and set it aside. Release both legs and just bend both knees. Good. So you're going to have your second block. And here's what we're going to do. You're going to take your first leg. You're going to take your left leg. Let's do left leg. And I'm going to adjust my block a little bit. You're going to take your left leg and rest it on your left block. Make sure it's in a position where your knee doesn't feel, I'm moving my other leg out of the way, like it's going to hyperextend or anything. And then flex your foot as if you were standing on the floor. When you flex your foot, I want you to feel the glute engagement on the left side. You're going to take your other block to the outside, to the right side outside. Bend your right knee, take it up to the ceiling, externally rotate to your level, bend the knee, and then lower the knee to the block. Now, I want everybody, in fact, to start higher, either second or third level. I'll start with second level. So my foot is more or less resting on my blanket against my inner thigh. It's not resting hard on the inner thigh because we don't have to stand. We don't need that. But I can feel my foot brushing against my inner left thigh. My knee is relaxing on my block. And then I want you to take both hands to your hips and feel those hips. Do they both? And sometimes this can be a little bit hard to feel, but do they both feel like those front hip bones are pointing straight up to the ceiling pretty evenly? Like if I put my hands on my hips and do a little side swish of the hips, can I bring them both to neutral? The lower back is long, but I still have the curve there. I'm in this supine tree pose, right? The hips are pointing straight ahead. You're still okay here. Take the arms up, inhale. Exhale, reach them behind you, interlace the hands, but let the thumbs rest on the floor if they will reach that far. If they don't, please don't strain the arms. You can go to cactus arms. Okay, so the thumbs resting on the floor, so my hands are off floor, that kind of lines up the shoulders. As I feel what's happening in the hips, in the leg, I'm going to engage the left foot, engage the left leg, and just notice. Now, if this feels super easy for you, no strain, no stress in the hips, maybe you lower down one block. If you're feeling strain in the knee or in the hip, I want you to raise the block. You can also lower that foot. You know that, my darling out there with knee issues. So find it. If you lower the block, however, I really want you to pay attention to the left hip and draw it back down to the floor. Just breathe, everybody. Kind of soften the ribs down a little bit. Engage the left leg. Imagine that you are standing on a floor and doing tree pose. This is what we're doing. Just kind of notice. And then release the arms. Bring the right knee back up. Ooh, yeah, right? So maybe you felt a little bit there. Grab your block. Now, the trickiest part is just going to be to grab your block that was down on your leg, down at that lower left leg, and just shift it over your blanket to the right side. Straighten the right leg, let it rest. Your left side block goes over to the left. Take the left leg up. Externally rotate, bend the knee to the point that you can. Lower it down to your block and let the foot rest on the blanket, but also resting just ever so gently against that inner right thigh. Flex your right leg, make it active. Feel your right glute. Excuse me. Hands to hips. Where are the hips? Hands to the front hip bones. Where are they? Are they both pointing straight up, or are those, they used to call them right headlights? Is one tilted down? And on this side, it almost feels like my left side is tilting down more. So I'm going to press more into the right hip to see if I can level those hips out a little bit. If you cannot level them out, the block goes higher, right? The knee comes a little bit more forward. That is perfectly okay, very, very normal. Just notice it. If it feels good, lower the block, but be real kind of clear about where these hips are. And why is that, right? In tree pose, if we were standing, both of these hips would be pointing straight forward, and doesn't matter where the knee is. If you feel strain in the left hip or compression in the left hip, you take that block higher, right? And you do it because it makes sense in your body. And even if you don't have pain, maybe try bringing it up higher and just see how that all of a sudden the hip bones like go, oh, okay, that's where I'm supposed to be. Feel that, engage those hip muscles, and then see if you can lower and keep that alignment a little bit. Deep breath, everybody. And then bring the left leg up. Woo, bring that knee to chest. Straighten the leg and just kick the other block out of the way. Now, both of your legs, hopefully, are resting on that little tiny blanket or towel that's in the middle. So the legs come together. Flex your feet. Squeeze both glutes. So I want a lot of activity in those hips, right? In those glutes. So much so that you should feel like you kind of lift it off the floor just a little bit. Press the backs of the shoulders into the floor. The hands are either down at your sides, or you can just gently grip the sides of your mat. Keep the hips active and see if you can lift your left leg just a little bit. Yep, and breathe. So variation, we've done a little bit of this in Dandasana, staff pose, but now we're doing it laying down. Good, lower that leg, squeeze both glutes, lift the other leg just a few inches. Breathe as you're lifting one leg, the other leg is pressing down. Good, lower, switch sides, lift the left leg. Nice strong flex of the right foot, that right leg pressing down into your blanket. Lower that down, press, lift the other leg. Find your breath, everybody. Good, lower. This time I want you to lift the left leg, press the shoulders back. Take the arms overhead if that's okay for you. My thumbs are resting on the floor. Rest of my fingers are extended out. I want you to bend the left knee to 90 degrees. Turn the heel in, the knee out. Just pause, see how that feels, see where the knee goes, keep the right leg active. Straighten the right leg, turn it in a little bit. You can see mine's not going anywhere far on this one. And bring it center, straighten it up to the sky, flex your foot, press into your long leg, see if you can lift the other leg off that blanket an inch or two. Woo, yeah, yep. Some core work, everybody. And lower your right leg, lower your left leg. Woo, yeah, and lower your arms, shoulders to the floor. Other side, let's get nice and active. Squeeze those cute little butts, right? Hands can hold on to your side mat if you want. Flex your left leg grounded into the blanket. Lift your right leg just a few inches off the floor. Find your breath. Keep the hips level. Notice how this is feeling for you. So one, you're going to stay here. Two, those arms are going to go overhead. The thumbs are pressing into the floor. Bend your right knee, bring it to 90 degrees. Keep that core active. Turn the foot in, the knee out, external rotation. Breathe, just notice where it is for you. No forcing it, just bring it to your level. Bring that leg straight, turn the knee in, the foot out a little bit. See where that goes, internal rotation. Ooh, yeah, breathe, good. Bring it straight and then take that right leg up to the ceiling. If you're still okay, you're gonna lift the left leg off that blanket. Woo, come to core work. Keep pressing the belly down to the floor, everybody. Big deep breath, big deep breath. And lower it all the way down and let those arms go. Circle out your ankles one way and then the other. Bend both knees. Bring both knees toward your chest. Roll over to one side and come on up. I know it. I know it. I know it. Good. You can either sit on your blanket or move it out of the way. You're going to need one block and your strap. And again, my knee folks out there, my one in particular who I love and adore, you take care of your knees. You know what to do. So we're going to come into our variation of Janu Sirsasana. So if I'm mirroring here, you'll take your right leg straight. Your left knee is going to go out to the side. Your block is going to go under your knee. So here we are again. Maybe you start a whole bunch higher than you normally would. I mean, I have good external rotation. That's how I'm built. That leg can rest there all day long. But there is something to be said for taking some of the stress or the pressure off of the hips while we play with other things. So take that block under your knee. Engage that right leg. Sit really tall. Take the strap around your right foot. And then instead of moving forward, I want you to pull back. So a big flex of the right foot. The shoulders are drawing back. My back body is engaged. Low belly is toned. Okay. And then I'm just kind of noticing, how does this side feel to me? If your knee is bothering you, you take that foot out further. It should make a big difference. Less compression. You take it out as far as you need to, even if it is completely separate from the other leg. Okay. So once you're here, you're pulling back on that strap. See what it feels like to lower. Notice nothing else changes. Your right leg straight out from your right hip. Your foot is flexed. You're opening through the shoulders, and then just take your right toes and turn them out to the side. Again, your level. And notice, right? This is an interesting stretch for me, especially with a flexed foot. I feel it all the way up kind of that inside of my leg. And just notice where your particular toes go, right? Do they go almost to the floor? Are they mostly straight up? That is not right, wrong, or anything. That is the way your hips are built. Take the toes back up, turn them to the inside, and kind of get a sense what's happening there. And breathe. I had one student that I know who had a full range of motion for internal rotation. He could turn his toes all the way in, but had no external rotation. It was the way that that femur bone, the thigh bone, goes into the hip socket. It is the way you're built. So we honor that. Good. Take the toes center. Pull back on that strap. See if you can lift the leg. Your right hand goes closer to your foot. The foot is staying straight ahead. Again, we're working here with hamstrings. Your left arm goes up if you'd like. Find your breath. Take the right leg out to the side. Again, monitor your hips. Monitor how that's feeling for you and adjust as necessary. Take it center, grab the strap with your left hand, take it across, and reach your right arm up. Here's that nice big old stretch right here, right? I know. Hang in there. And center, hold the strap with both hands. Slowly lower your leg, pull those shoulders back, release your left knee, straighten both legs. Good, circle it out. And then I want you to switch sides, take the block to your other side. The strap is going to go around your left leg. Your right leg is going to come up and in. Your foot's going to rest into that inside leg somewhere with the block under your knee. And then sit really tall and breathe. So this teaching seminar was all about hips and different ways to access poses depending on what's going on with your hips, hip replacements, hip injuries, all of that kind of stuff. A very interesting webinar seminar, whatever you call them on the web. Good. Roll the shoulders back. Flex your foot. Feel this, right? Nice engagement of that left leg, everybody. That block under the knee. See what happens when you lower it. Did anything change? You could see what happens if you raise it. Does anything change? Are we honoring the process here? All right, so you know what's coming next. Roll those shoulders back, hold onto that strap. See if you can lift your left leg. And then I tend to grab pretty close to my foot so that I have good anchor. I have a good anchor to hold that leg up. Tone through the belly, take the arm up. Leg is straight in front of you. Good flex as we stretch through the Achilles and the calf muscles. And then take the leg out to the side. Whew. Everybody breathe. Take that leg up and across. Grab the strap with your other hand and stretch the outer hip, outer tensor fascia lata, the IT band. All kinds of stuff going on over there. Good. Come center. Strap in each hand. Lower that leg. Pull the shoulders back and release that leg. Release your strap. Circle out your ankles. Let your blocks come to the front of your mat, and then let's come right to table pose. Whew, good. So as I adjust my wardrobe, table pose, a few little cats and cows here just to shake out the back. And breathe. That's it. A couple more. And nice neutral spine. I want you to step forward with your right leg. Take your blocks. Your hands go on your blocks. Your left knee is back. Your right knee is forward. And once again, I want you to just take a look at your front foot. Maybe turn the foot out to the side and notice how that feels. As I diagonal that foot, I just want to make sure my knee and my hip are pointing in the same way. Does that feel good? Does that feel bad? Does that feel okay? Just different, right? How does that feel in your body? And then bring the foot center and turn it to the inside and see how that feels. Now for me, not so good. I don't really love that. So I'm going to reduce the angle a little bit. Toes are still pointing in, and that feels okay. So just checking out some different range of motion in my body. Take the toes forward, angle it if you need to. Hands come to your knees. Big squeeze of the lower belly. Take the arms up. Notice your hip points. Are they straight ahead? Or is one hip lower than the other? Is one hip forward, one hip back? Can you kind of come into balance with those hips? As you stretch, right? This back leg, if that is too much, come off pose a little bit more. So there's less of a deep stretch in that front thigh. Find your breath. That's it. And exhale, hands come to your blocks. I want you to simply switch sides. So bring one knee back, bring the other leg forward. We're starting again in a nice, easy, simple lunge. Finding out where that stretch is, engage the back glute. And then your front foot turns out to the side. So it's angled to that corner of your yoga mat. Notice that. How does that feel in your body? Breathe. If it feels yucky, you lessen the turn of the foot. That's all. And then take the foot center. Turn it in. How does that feel? Too much? Lessen the turn in. Where is it in your body? I bet if we were all in the same room, we would have a bunch of different variations of this very simple exercise. Good. Turn that foot center again. Take your hands to your knees. Big squeeze of that low belly. So you're actually coming off pose a little bit. Take the arms up. And breathe. And then try to get a sense of where those hips are. That's it. Find your breath, everybody. Exhale, hands come back to your blocks. I want you to bring the left knee back. Set your blocks to the side, plant your hands and come to downward facing dog. Once you're in down dog, I want you to take your feet nice and wide on your mat. My feet are almost to the very edges of my yoga mat. Wrap your elbows around that beach ball, widen your shoulders. Feel this nice stretch. Bend the knees some. It's not a lot, but some. And as soon as you do, take a look at your knees. Are they collapsing in? If they are, press them out a little bit. Spread through the fingers, press the knees out as if you had a wall on either side of those outer knees. And you're just gently pressing those knees into the wall. And I'm thinking of one person in particular who's in my class right now, whose knees love to curl in. So press them out, everybody. Feel the weight in your hands. Maybe lift one hand and then the other as if your hands were doing the walking, right? As the legs stay in place. And then let your hands really do the walking. Take those hands all the way back to your feet. Hands come to knees, upper body lifts all the way up to standing. Roll your shoulders, shake out your legs, and breathe. Good. Grab your strap for a second here. Let's do a little bit more upper body opening. If you have a super long strap, you might be able to just fold them in half. Take your legs nice and wide. And here, I want you to play once again. Where do your toes normally want to go? Where do your feet normally want to go? So the first thing I look at is particularly my left ankle collapsing in? If it is, press out to that outer foot a little bit. When you bend your knees, and be mindful for my knee folks, when you bend your knees a little bit, do the knees and the feet track in the same line, or do your knees curl into the middle? Adjust your feet, play with your feet and your knees. Come into squat as an option. Don't have to. Tone the belly in. Grab a hold of your strap. Take it up overhead. If it is wide enough, take it back and behind. If it isn't, either widen it or just don't worry. Just take it up to the ceiling and bring it back. Good. And reach. Opening up chest, opening up shoulders. Where you go in your squat is going to be up to you. Right? If you want to go a little lower, I just want you checking knees, hips, feet, alignment, and breathe. Yep, you can come halfway back with that strap. Not everybody, again, is going to have that range of motion in the shoulders. You can bend the elbows, right? What happens if I bend the elbows back behind? Good, few more deep breaths. Yep, couple more. Last one. That's it. Breathe. And then take that strap overhead. Squat, no squat. That's going to be up to you. I want you to take your left hand down toward your thigh and take a big stretch. Big side body stretch. Don't let that whole right side chest curl down, right? Try to keep it sideways. If you're more here, that's fine. Take it up, take it over. Breathe. Good. Couple more. And reach. And reach. Talk about a little full body work here, right? And reach. One more, both sides. Come on, you got this, everyone. Take that strap up, pull it apart from each other, working those back arms. Pull, 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 pull. Bend the elbows. That strap comes behind the head. It's not really touching, but it's behind the head. Pull some more. Breathe. Release the strap. Take it behind you. Strap is shoulder width apart. Pull that strap back. We do not do this enough. Let me tell you. In fact, since I said that, let's just pulse for 10 straight back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Straighten those legs. If you happen to have been bent that whole time, shake them out. And set your strap aside. Now, again, take the feet, shoulders. In fact, let's start with this. So you're here on your yoga mat. Take your hands to your hips, and I just want you to step back and step forward like you were going for a walk in the park. Just one step forward, one step back, right? And you're looking more ahead. Try not to look down. That's it. And then the next time you step forward, just stop. Feet are and in the same line, and then look down at your feet. So this doctor who's doing this course, she said, chances are that is your normal hip alignment, right? So your feet are shoulders width apart. If they're more or less parallel with each other, leave them right where they are. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to hearts, behind sets back. Come into a small squat here, a small chair pose. And then release the hands, take them to the outside knees and press against those hands. Press the knees against the hands. And then just release. Press against and release. Try to tap into the muscles that are engaging. It can be really subtle. Press out, release, right? What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? Press out, release. Last one, press out. I want you to hold that press out. See if you can hold that press out. Hands come to hearts, hold that press out. Stand up all the way. Good. See if you can find that press out feeling in those hips. Often it's tensor fasciae lata or one of the glute muscles. See if you can feel that. Hands come to heart. Press the knees against those walls and come to squat. So I lost something there because my brain was not focusing and I went right to my low back. So I'm going to sit up a little bit higher, tailbone long, all that stuff we know. I'm going to press out against the walls or my hands, right? Breathe and then stand up. Good. Shake it out, everybody. Notice how that maybe felt. And then back to the front of your mat. If you want to be near a wall, that's okay. Hands come to your hips. Feel both hips straight ahead. Soften the knees. Looking ahead, and then consider coming into a little bit of a squat, not a deep one, okay? Chair pose, arms come out. Use your breath here. Press those knees against an imaginary wall. Another way to think about it that I tend to go to is that I'm squeezing my feet out to the sides isometrically. Take a look at your knees, right? Are they mostly parallel with each other? Good. From here, I want you to lean into your left foot and step back with your right. If you can take the hands down for now. If you can, you're staying on the ball mound of that foot and you're going to bend your back knee a little bit. If that hurts your knee, keep it straight. Breathe, tone in through the belly. Take the arms up, variation of warrior one. Yep, just breathe. Normally warrior one, the back foot is dropped down to the side. But this one, we're actually moving into the knee. We're moving into the quadricep. We're using the glute muscles. Breathe. I know, hang in there. Notice, right? Are you laying in your low back? Is this still too much for you? Do you need to shorten your pose? Do you need to lengthen your pose? Whew. Breathe. Hands come to hips. Push off your back leg, step forward. Shake it out. Other side. So here we are, mountain pose. Legs are active. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands come to heart, chair pose. Check the knees, just look. Press them against the imaginary walls, just gently. And then lean into your right foot, step back with your left foot. Lots of control, make sure your stance is wide enough. Engage your back glute, bend your back knee. Take the arms up. And breathe. Yep, and just notice, right? So When you stack bone, it's easier when you are working muscle here, this back leg, right? Nothing really stacking as opposed to straight. You work those muscles a little bit more. Find your breath. Good. Release those hands, push off, and come forward and shake it out. Good. Roll it out. And then come to a nice, easy mountain pose. You're just standing on your mat, mountain pose. Check those inner ankles. See if you cannot let them collapse, right? Maybe lift all your toes off the floor and feel that. And then let the toes come to the floor. And notice as you press those, if you lift those inner arches and press toward the edges of your feet, what happens to the knees, right? They start to move a little bit. The hips start to move a little bit. There's where I want you. And then that's right where I want you. All right. So you're going to lean into your left leg and you're just going to lift your right heel off the floor. And then I want you to do a little, what I would call a hip hike. So the hip that's hiking is this right side, right? So I'm mirroring here. You're going to hip hike it up so that that hip comes closer to the ribs, and then you're going to drop it. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Yep. Should be no pain here. If there's pain, I would go smaller. Now that I got you focusing on this side, I really want you to focus on the other side. So take your left hand to that outer hip and squeeze it in and let it go. Squeeze it in, let it go. Yep, one more. Squeeze, let go, squeeze and hold. Feel that? That's tensor fascia lata, a little bit of glute, of one of the glute muscles. That's what I want you to maintain, and just see if you can take your other foot off the floor. Breathe. So basis of so many of the standing balance poses, tree pose, is not letting this hip sway out. And if you have the strength in the hip stability, you can just kind of move it and see what happens, right? From a stability standpoint, squeeze it in and just hold, and then let it go. Shake it out. All right, other side, right? So we start in mountain pose. The feet press away from each other, the knees, feet, you're parallel. If they're out a little bit, that's okay. They're in a little bit, that's okay. What feels normal in your hips? And then lean into your right leg, my left leg, just come to the ball mound of your other and do that little hip hike. Like you're just being kind of sassy, right? Like, woohoo, look at me, I got some hips, right? Breathe. Yep. And so first we're focused here. We're just seeing how that feels to lift up and lower. And then I want you to focus here. What's it feel like to squeeze in and release, right? So there's the muscle. It's right there. And on this side, I'm not as strong. I can feel it just from doing this. So squeeze it in, hold, foot forward, lift your other leg, any amount. Keep squeezing, have your hand right there. And it's as if you could push that hand into the muscle and keep it engaging. I know, breathe everybody. Oh, and release it, shake it out. All right, we're getting there. Balance work, always know that you can be near a wall, a piece of furniture, a door, whatever, wherever you need to be. Mountain pose, hands come to hips. Where are your hips? Where are your hips, right? So these are your hips. Where are the front hip bones, the as-its bones? The little bony things that are right at that kind of top of the hip line. Find that, shift into your one leg. Let's all do one side. So if I'm mirroring, you go left, I'll go right. And do the same thing. There's your hip, your sassy hip, squeeze it in. Lift your other leg, see if you can hold that. Find your focus point. Take the knee out to the side, any amount. And then land your foot where it makes sense for you. It can be low, medium, it could be high, And then notice the sassy hip. I want you to squeeze the hip into center so that the foot's pressing into the thigh's pressing into the foot, the hands come to your heart. Maybe you check the hip bones. Where are they, right? If I take the right knee too far out to the side, the hips are going to go sideways. I don't want that. I want the hips to go forward. Does not matter where the knee is in relation, right? If you are looking at the camera, it might look like this leg is straight out. It is not, right? If I'm being true to myself, the hips are pointing forward. You can see the angle of this knee as I play with tree pose. So glutes are active, but in particular, it's this guy right here, that hip, that outer hip. All right, come on out since I'm already out. And breathe, shake it out. And then switch sides. So mountain, sassy hip, squeeze it in, nice tone. Start to turn, right? You can lift and then turn. You can even go from toe to turn and then rest here, right? That's a really nice option. Take the foot where it would normally go for you, and then draw that outer right hip, or my left, your right, draw it in. Take your hands to your heart. Tone the lower belly, lift the chest. Press your inner thigh or inner leg, inner calf to your foot. And breathe. Just notice. I notice I'm gripping the heck out of the mat with my toes. So we try to let that go a little bit. Squeeze in through the outer leg, find your stability, and then let go. Shake it out. And breathe. And then come back to your balance, come back to your mountain pose, hands to hips. Shift into your left leg, lift your right leg, nice 90 degrees. Just let it float out to the side. Where does it go for you? Take it center, bring it across. Where does it go? Right? All of these things are going to throw your balance. Take it center, bend the knee like you're going to go to tree pose, but don't touch. Squeeze in through the standing leg, flex your foot, your right foot, big flex, and then slide the leg down that other leg and let go. Same thing, other side, tone that belly, shift in, squeeze in. Lift the knee. Take it out. See what that feels like. Bring it in and across. How's that feel? Bring it center. Turn it out. Imagine you're going to do tree pose, but you're not going to touch. That leg does not have to be this high, nor does it have to be that far out to the side, right? Maybe it's more forward. Maybe it's all the way to the floor. And then slide it down and release it. Shake it out, everybody. Good job. Take both feet wide on your mat. And I want you to turn the toes forward. You're forward. And see how that feels in your hips, your knees, your ankles, your feet. Try to pigeon toe in. Heels out, toes in. How does that feel? No strain here. And breathe. Take the toes center. Take them out. Take them out more. Again, my out and your out don't have to be anything alike. Take them out to your level. Feel how that works the hips and even right into the hip joints. See if you can bend the knees. Keep the torso tall. Find that crease in the hips, right? And then draw the hip crease super far back, super far back. Your feet can be straight, by the way. They don't have to be turned out. Once you find that big, deep hip crease, tone in through the belly. Take your hands to the floor. Feel your legs. Feel yourself kind of centered over the legs so you don't have too much weight forward or back. And notice how this feels as your hip creases go deep in, but you're not lifting your butt, right? The tailbone stays long so that the back stays neutral. You're going to reverse this. Take your hands to those C-clamps, those hips creases. Press your body up, straighten your legs. Good job. Heel toe in on purpose. So toes in, heels in, toes in, heels in, and toes in. Shake it out. Good job, everybody. And then right back to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale all the way down. Soften the knees and step back. Downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Spread through the hands. Hold on to that imaginary beach ball. Go wide in the shoulders, everyone. Now, option 1, you're here. Option 2, you're down on your knees, child's pose. Option 3, you're going to press into your right leg. Bend your left knee. Lift up. Turn the knee out to the side. Flex your foot. And then see if you can square-ish the shoulders. And breathe. Notice the pose. Notice the action of the hips and the glutes. And then lower that knee slowly. Let the foot come to the floor. You're going to switch sides, shifting over to your left leg. Bend the knee, take it up, open it to the side. Square the shoulders. Find your breath. Release, slow, slow, all the way down. Take both feet wide on your mat. Lower your knees to the floor. Drop to your elbows. Straighten the legs. Plank pose on elbows. Find your breath. That's it. Just breathe, everybody. Press into the fullness of those forearms. Press down to the pinkies. Keep the shoulders wide. Squeeze your legs. And lower knees. Come on down to your belly. Ooh, I know it. Good. Lower your upper body all the way down. And just breathe for a moment here. Good. And then roll over to your left side. If you're not on your left, you're on your right. Just keep it straight, which one's which for you. Bend your knees. Nice tone to the belly here. Support your head, either your blanket, a block, or your arm. Keep your feet together. I just want you to lift your top knee off your bottom knee without rolling backwards. Okay, so it's a clamshell, right? These are really good hip exercises to do for strength. Press down through the bottom leg and then release. Let's do 9, 8, center, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold, right? External rotation. Lift the foot off your other foot. Keep holding that rotation. And then drop the knee, but don't touch. Heel goes up, down, up, down. Yep, up. Tap your foot, up. 4, 3, yep. 2, and 1. Level out the leg as if you were setting that leg on a table. And breathe. I want you to pulse up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, tone your belly. 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold it up at that little higher level where you're feeling it. I can actually, my legs shaking just a little bit. Breathe and lower down. Good. Straighten both legs. Stack one leg on top of the other. If that's really challenging for you to maintain balance, then just bend the bottom leg and keep the top leg straight. Flex your feet, tone the belly, make yourself a nice straight line. Lift that top leg and just hold. Lift the bottom leg if you can. Hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the bottom leg, lower the top leg. Bend both knees and relax for a second. I'm just going to turn myself around. It's one of those days, it almost feels like I could take a nap. All right, so here we are. The knees are bent, the belly is toned, the hips are stacked one on top of the other. I just want you to lift the knee and hold if you can. So all of these things that we've been doing today should be without pain in the hips, right? Compression or just this funky feeling. And for future practices, right? If you lift the knee and you're like, I don't like that, just lower the knee a little bit, right? So we're kind to our bodies as we explore. It's okay. And then let's do 9 more of these. So down and up. Here we go. 1, 2, squeeze right here. 3, 4, 5. Yep. 6. I hope you're still with me. 7, 8, 9, 10, hold the knee, lift the foot off the floor, flex your foot, and then knee, heel, knee, foot. That's it. Here we go. And breathe. We got 6 left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it level, flex your foot, tone that belly, stay hip to hip. Don't lean back. Here we go. Pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold and release. Whew. Straighten both legs. Flex both feet. Lift your top leg. It's not a high lift. The toes stay pointing forward. Find your breath. If you can, lift the bottom leg, hold, woo, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Woo. Bend the knees, everybody. Listen up. I actually want you to come up to a seat. Woo. Straighten the legs. Grab your strap. Maybe a block. Block's going to be optional. We're coming back to Janu Sirsasana. So again, your level. Want you to keep your right leg straight. Bend your left leg to your level. Maybe a block, maybe not. Okay. Front leg straight. Grab your strap. Take it around your foot. And just come really tall, just sit really tall. If this were your Janu Sirsasana and it felt good in your body, I would be so proud of you, right? Because that is what we want. A little bit of a hamstring stretch, probably not nearly as much as it was in the beginning, but a good, strong posture, right? All right, so up to you. As you tilt forward, again, be mindful of your knee, your ankle. As you start to come forward, do not dump in your lower back. Want that hinge from the hip as if you were pulling up and over the leg instead of down to the leg. You can let go of the strap. The fingertips can come to the floor. Isometrically pull the shoulder back. And imagine if you could drape the body over the entire leg and not bring just the head down, because then you just go right to your low back. You go around it, you round into those upper shoulders. I just don't love it. Don't love it. And breathe. Some of you are going to be able to come down closer. Many of us don't. It's not the way our bodies are built. So you do you here. You trust your body and breathe. Let go of that leg if you got it. Come on up. Sit really tall, everybody. And then release. Take that knee up, straighten that leg, switch sides, big flex. Bend the other knee, take it to where you want to take it for you. Knee underneath, block underneath the knee. Strap around the foot. Start here, big tall pose. And feel that. That just might feel so good in your body that that's where you're going to stay for now. Once you're there, once you have had a sense of where your hips are in space, and you want to go a little bit further forward, just keep reassessing. What am I doing to the rest of my body while I take myself forward? Is something shifting? For me, this hamstring, again, tight, 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 tight for me, right? So I'm not pushing this one at all. I'm going to have my hands on the floor. I'm going to gently pull the hands back. I'm going to say nice things to this hamstring, right? This back of the leg, and say, let me know when and if you're ready. If my leg loosens up and I don't feel like I'm just going to dump around my low back, I might go further. If it's not going to loosen up, I'm just going to hang out and find my breath and notice. There was a quote, or I think it was a quote, and I'm just going to paraphrase here, but it's about being patient with the questions, because the answers may not be known to you at this time. So be patient with your hamstrings, with your body, with the questions that you might have, and the answers will come. All right, press up, everybody. Release it. You're going to grab both of your blocks. The soles of the feet are going to come together, and the blocks are going to go outside either knee. Now, we're going to pause here in this just very light Baddha Konasana, and our Shavasana is going to be seated. If you do not like that idea at all, come on back down to your back. You can start in this position supine with blocks under your knees. Perfectly awesome. So just something a little bit different. I am not in a tight Baddha Konasana. I don't have my heels really close to my groin. I just want it to be soft, easy, knees, hips supported, and I want to be nice and tall in my spine. And then maybe close your eyes and just notice how you feel. Just breathe. And if the Baddha Konasana is not good, but you want to stay seated, you can just go to cross legs. You can go to straight legs. I do want you to see if you can be relaxed here, though, wherever you decide to go. Deep breath. Let it go. One more deep breath. And let it go. And then from your Baddha Konasana, just move the blocks and support the legs. If it's easy for you to go cross-legged, do that. If you want to sit on a block hero pose, do that. If your legs are straight, I would take the blocks underneath the knees so that you can keep a more neutral pelvis. And then let the hands rest wherever they are most comfortable. The shoulders stay in the side body. And close your eyes. And imagine that 3-part breath here. Don't need the hands. You're just going to take a breath in and let it fill the belly first. Mid belly, upper belly, chest, all the way to the collarbones. And then exhale, chest releases. Mid belly, low belly tucks in. Few more breaths, just like this. If you are in more traditional Savasana, you are doing the same thing. And then let that go. And just let the breath move in and out. If you are where you want to be for another 5 or 10 minutes, please stay. If you are ready to move from your Shavasana, if you are laying down, start to wiggle toes and fingers as you bring those knees to chest. If you are already seated, maybe you just straighten the legs and shake them out. Those of you who maybe have been laying down, eventually roll to one side and come all the way up. And then everybody bring your hands to your heart and bow to your own inner wisdom. Decide to love your body. Decide to listen to the cues. Move forward. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks.